Today we're going to learn how to add and subtract large integers using something called bar models. So we know that we can use zero-pair diagrams to add and subtract integers, but what if the numbers are big? We don't want to draw 100 negatives or 20 positives. So let's look at an example. These numbers are not that big, but they're kind of getting there, right? So I'm going to add negative 10 plus negative 8. So I drew 10 negatives, and then I leave a space, and I draw 8 more negatives, and already this is taking a lot of time and a lot of space. And maybe it's easier to make a mistake. So I know I have 10 negatives here, so I'm going to count on 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 negatives. So that gives me a negative 18. But we're already getting to the point where this is a little bit ridiculous. So imagine if we drew a bar around our 10 negatives, and then so I'm going to draw a bar over here and not draw the negatives. So this bar represents those same 10 negatives, and I'm going to show that by labeling it with a negative 10. It's very important that we label our bars on the outside, either above or below, not on the inside, and you'll see why on the next page, or actually down below on this page. So that's my bar for the negative 10, and then my bar for I'm going to draw another bar around the 8 negatives, and so I'm going to repeat that bar over here and label it with a negative 8. And then I can't count, so I'm going to have to do what I call a side calculation. So to combine these 10 negatives and those 8 negatives, I'm going to add. Now, I want you to really pay attention here. I'm using a positive 10 because I'm counting how many negatives, plus a positive 8 gives me a total of 18 negatives. So that's the same total I got from counting over here. And then I know that 18 negatives is represented by the number negative 18. So I got the same answer without having to draw all that, but I had to do this side calculation. So what if I have a negative and a positive? So we're going to add negative 8 plus positive 15. So again, I'm going to draw my 8 negatives below the bar, below the line, and then 15 positives. I'm going to line up the first 8 very carefully, and then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm making 8 zero pairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negatives. And so I have 0 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 extra positives. So my value is 7. We're going to do the same thing. Let's draw a bar around the 8 negatives, and I'm going to just repeat that bar over here and label it outside with a negative 8. And if I draw a bar around my 15 positives, I can repeat that over here, label it outside with a positive 15. Now, what's different here is that we're making 0 pairs. So let's draw a 0 just like this 0. Now, what I want you to notice is my 0 includes the negative 8 because I included all 8 negatives here. But I did not include the 15 because this 0 does not include all 15 positives. How many positives does it include? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 positives. So we're going to divide this bar into 2 parts. I'm going to cross out the 15, and 8 of these 15 go here, and I want to know how many are left then to go there. So in this case, my side calculation is a subtraction. Now, I have a positive 15 because I'm counting 15 positives, and I'm subtracting a positive 8 because I'm counting these 8 positives here. And that leaves me with 7 positives to go there. And so now I see the same, 0 plus 7 equals 7. So this is how we want to do our additions from now on. So let's formalize this a little bit. By the way, if you didn't add an R to your page number, please add an R. So I want to use a bar model to add large integers. So the first step is to draw a bar to represent each number, and it's important that we use a longer bar if we have more positives or more negatives. So I'm going to do these two problems in parallel. In this case, I'm adding two negatives. In this case, I'm adding a negative and a positive. So I'm going to draw the exact same bar for the negative 30. More than half, but not too far. So more than half of the space is a bar for my negative 30. Now in this case, I'm adding 4 more negatives, so I'm going to draw them below the bar right next to the bar for the negative 30. But in this case, I'm adding a positive 4, so I'm going to draw my bar above. And once again, notice I'm labeling all my bars on the outside, either below or above. Okay, next question is how many zero pairs? So there's no zero pairs in this case because there's no positives. But I can make 4 zero pairs in this case. I'm going to use all 4 positives. And how many negatives? Well, remember, a zero pair is 1 positive matched with 1 negative. So, well, I'm going to come back to that. All I'm going to write down now is that I have 4 zero pairs. Okay. If there are no zero pairs, like this case, then we're going to combine the 2 bars into one big bar. So what operation is that? To combine the bars, I'm going to add. So 30 negatives plus 4 negatives equals 34 negatives. Notice I'm not writing out the word negatives anymore. I'm just saying neg. 30 negatives plus 4 negatives is 34 negatives. Whoops. So that gives me a value of negative 30. Negative 34. All right, now I can't see my diagram, so I'm going to bring it down. This is the same diagram from up above. So if you can make zero pairs, like here on the right, we're going to split the longer bar into 2 parts. On the left side, we're going to make 0 pairs. So that's what we're doing here. So let's split the bar. And I'm going to match these 4 positives with 4 negatives to make 4 0 pairs. Then I'm going to subtract to find my leftovers, okay? So I've got 30 negatives that I'm going to split up. 4 on the left, and then how many on the right? So I'm going to do 30 negatives minus 4 negatives equals 26 negatives. So 26 negatives means that this is negative 26. And so I have 0 here in the orange plus negative 26 equals negative 26. All right, so how do we use bar models to subtract large integers? So we're just going to combine the 2 things that we've learned. So we're going to start with this subtraction, negative 100 minus negative 5, and we're going to rewrite it as an equivalent addition. So let's remember, what do we do with the first number? We copy it. We don't change it. So that's negative 100. And then subtracting a negative 5 is the same as adding positive 5. And so I'm going to draw a long bar for the negative 100, a shorter bar for the positive 5. I'm going to make 5 zero pairs using all 5 positives, but not 100 negatives, just 5 negatives. And then that's going to leave me with 100 negatives minus 5 negatives. It's going to leave me with 95 negatives. That goes right there. And so my value is 0 plus negative 95 equals negative 95. Let's do the same thing over here, but this time, again, we're going to copy the first number, negative 100. But this time, we're subtracting 5, not negative 5, that's a positive 5. So subtracting 5 is equivalent to adding negative 5. So in this case, both of my bars are negative, so I'm going to add to combine them. 100 negatives plus 5 negatives is 105 negatives, and so my value is negative 105.